This episode is brought to you by Audi. The road is calling. Embrace the thrill of the drive with the all-new, fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron. Featuring effortless power, serious acceleration, and advanced Audi tech. It's not just a new EV. It's a new way to experience driving. The all-new, fully electric Audi Q6 e-tron is here. The next chapter of Audi starts now.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Hey, I'm Amanda from Trifecta Fitness. We're proud to be Clarksville's new Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
In October 2019, Arlington, Texas was chosen to be the home of a new national museum, unlike any other. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a unique home of military history. The 100,000 square foot museum will house exhibits, archives, and artifacts relating to the 3,500 U.S. troops who have been awarded the medal, the nation's highest honor for valor in combat. The museum will have 31,000 square feet of galleries dedicated to U.S. troops who have received the award. The museum CEO, former Navy SEAL and NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy, said the museum will focus on education as much as preservation. The building will have 5 areas dedicated to Medal of Honor winners from the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. The main gallery will be located in a central plaza under a 25,000 square foot slab of steel, which will appear to be suspended in midair. It will be supported by 5 pillars. Black Rifle Coffee is a corporate sponsor of the museum, as are the Dallas Cowboys. The museum's board also includes over a dozen major corporations and 6 Medal of Honor recipients, including David Bellavia, Patrick Brady, and Britt Slabinski. Army Staff Sergeant Bellavia was awarded the medal for clearing an entire house by himself on November 10, 2004, as a squad leader in support of Operation Phantom Fury in Fallujah, Iraq. He killed 4 enemy fighters and wounded a 5th in close quarters battle. Army Major General Brady flew and coordinated the evacuation of 51 seriously wounded men during a firefight in Vietnam in January 1968. Slabinski, a Navy SEAL chief and team leader, led a rescue team of SEALs during Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan in March 2002. Slabinski and his team flew to a mountaintop ambush site to rescue Petty Officer First Class Neil Roberts, who had fallen from the back of a helicopter. Slabinski led the team through almost constant combat against an entrenched Taliban force. Along with the board members, former presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama serve as honorary directors. The museum is expected to open to the public in late 2024.
All right. Welcome back.
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation. The Misfit Nation Show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation Show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome back to our Thursday after dinner show. It's a great day to be alive. Remember, I start every day by stacking those victories, by waking up and getting out of bed. Make that bed, brush your teeth. You already got 3 victories right there. Keep stacking them up every day. Again, thanks to everyone that tuned in last week during our Veterans Week shows. And, of course, thank you to everyone that hung out with us in Georgia, University of Georgia last week in Athens. We had a blast, 48 straight hours of a great party, great game. UGA won, beat Tennessee, so that makes it even better. We made it nearly 2 weeks without having to do a memorial on the show, but today 2 popped up. We lost 2 in the same police department, Corporal Louis Paez and Deputy Sheriff Ralph Butch Waller of Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, Florida, and to watch Thursday, November 21st, 2024. Let's keep those guys, both them officers, in your thoughts and prayers, and their friends and families as they go through this tough time. Tonight, we have a great guest who stepped up to the bat for us as another guest decided not to make it for us. So tonight we have a U.S. Army veteran, a podcast host, a producer, a father, and of course, a proud alumnus of the greatest division on earth, the 101st Airborne Division, Air Assault. So without further ado, let's welcome Marty Ty Cobb, U.S. Army veteran, 101st Airborne Division alumnus, to the Misfit Nation. Welcome, brother.
Air fucking assault.
Air Assault. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. 48 hours with Georgia and Tennessee.
Yes.
Man, that was some serious partying right there.
Every year it is. Every year I get to go to one game with my sister-in-law. She lets me pick one game. And the last 3 years we picked Tennessee to watch the Dogs beat Tennessee. Last year we picked Ole Miss. And I got to see Notre Dame a few years ago as well. It's always a great time. Great to see family, friends, and then, of course, a great party.
Yeah, we were choosing those games on our podcast, the Triple Threat Vet podcast. And as you know, Al Hero is actually a Georgia guy, but he picked Tennessee, so I went against all of them, picked Georgia. I got that one right. So
all right, there you go. You won.
Yeah, absolutely.
Outstanding. So, brother, I just gave a little bit of a blurb about you right there. I mean, very small blurb about everything you've done in life. Tell us a little bit more about you, from as far back as you want to go, and how do we got here?
Man, how we got here. It's been a series of very fortunate events, I'll tell you. I'm from a small town in Corbin, Kentucky, military family. A lot of my people were in the military, raised by a veteran Marine, Vietnam era guy. But very small town. And so we moved away from there when I was a sophomore in high school, moved to Jacksonville, Florida. And pretty much from then on, being in a Navy town in Jacksonville, being in and around that, I knew I was going to join the military at some point. But, I went off to college, did the college thing, and then came back. I was working in the Jacksonville club scene for a long time. And, I don't know if you know anything about Jacksonville, but that can get pretty dicey sometimes too. So I joined the Army in 1998, and it was probably the best thing and the only thing that I could have done for myself to get out of that rut I was in, because I was a knucklehead when I was young. So, joined in 1998, ended up learning a lot of life lessons, and deployed a bunch of times with the 101st Airborne Division. And along the way, ended up with 6 children, beautiful children. I have a grandson, now out as of 2017. I live in Houston, Texas, and, doing all kinds of fun podcasts, working with veteran service organizations, and, things like that. I mean, that's what I've been doing.
I've seen since the first day I met you, I've seen you're a huge advocate for veterans and VSOs and those small organizations in towns that people kind of shied away from for a long time, especially our generation of veterans. And I know you're a staunch supporter of. I think you're a VFW guy, right? In
Absolutely.
Houston area. And tell us a little bit about how your post, right? Post VSW post. How your post was or is now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is we become accustomed to talking to people a certain way. So whenever like you and I get together, we just start speaking that Fort Campbell frequency hop. We understand how to talk to each other. Yeah, exactly. I was a pretty intense kind of individual in 2017. So when I got out, I went directly into the VFW and got involved. And in a lot of ways, it saved my life, because I got to be around people that were thinking like I was, but in a lot of other ways, I was really going very fast over a cliff because, I had no identity, had no motivation, I had no camaraderie. And I'm a person that very much requires human connection in order to feel whole and to be able to do the mission. Like truly, I do the mission for the people next to me. That's just how I work. So a lot of that stuff of being alone, PTSD, trying to isolate, it really forced me to, get into therapy and become involved with the VFW and just kind of hold on to some of the things that they have, which when used properly, the VFW does have a lot of assets that they can use for veterans, whether it be addiction, cessation from any type of smoking, therapy, accelerated resolution, anything that you would want to go through. The VFW has direct interjections with the VA that they can marry you up with it. So in a lot of ways, like I said, the VFW saved my life. And so I've been an advocate for that. The American Legion, Combat Veteran Motorcycles Association, basically anything that can get you out there and being active, just throw a bunch of tools. And if one of them sticks, then that's a good thing. That's kind of the way we've always done it here, I guess, at our podcast.
Right.
So personally, I've kind of adopted that as well. Try as many things as possible and see what works for you.
And I think with the multitude of veterans organizations that are out there now, so many grew up just during GWAT era, like Team Red, White, and Blue, Wounded Warrior Project, Mission Continues, Travis Manning Foundation, Team Rubicon. They all exploded during GWAT. They actually came to life during GWAT. And the legacy ones like the VFW, American Legion, kind of were in that little gap period at that point where some of the new veterans didn't want to go there. And it took guys like you and some of the other guys around you to start building up those posts where you are. And I think post one in Denver were one of the first ones that actually started growing again. And I think, I don't know if it's feeding across the country yet. I know right outside gate 10 here, that one's crowded every day. It could be veterans getting off at 3:00 as contractors and going there having a beer and heading home, but it's crowded every day at 3:00.
That's cool, man. I mean, really and truly, like the VFW and all those legacy organizations, like you spoke of, they're going to have to change and kind of bring on some of the new things, like with the Travis Mannion, with some of the people you've had on your podcast, people we've had on our podcast. There's just different ways and ideologies of dealing with things of 20 years of GWAT, that is a different type of beast than they've had to deal with in other conflicts. Cause we were on an op tempo to where we were deploy, come home, get ready to deploy, come home, get ready to deploy. And you're doing that for literally 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 deployments. I know some people in the special operations got 12, 15 deployments of, 80, 90 months in a combat zone. That does something to you. And Matt Johnson on our podcast talks about, the military really teaches you a lot about how to go to war, how to be in the military, but the military itself really doesn't teach you a lot how to acclimate back to the civilian world. There's things in place, but a lot of them for mission, Met TC dependent, it's not happening at the end of their careers. And I think that's the thing that we do with all of our podcasts is, us, Willis, yourself, we're just trying to build a network of people with some good knowledge. And then when people come along and they happen to, touch our network, they'll be like, okay, this is something we can do. And I think that's all that we try to do over at our podcast is, just watch what everybody else is doing and be a big net that veterans can fall into if they need to.
And I think it makes it real easy as we cross-pollinate between my show, your show, Willis's show, especially. I think you guys had someone that needed help last year or so. You just asked me real quick, and I was able to throw stuff to you immediately to help that guy. He was right in Clarksville, actually, to help him out. And that's, I think, what the best part of our network is now. We have you guys in Texas, which is where you guys are is a huge veteran population. I don't know if people know how big that population is in Houston. And then Willis up in Louisville, me here in Clarksville. We have our fingers in a lot of states right now just by what we do. And if someone needs help, we can just easily hey, brother, you got somebody? I got somebody. Or I can find somebody. And we can help our brothers and sisters out that truly need it.
Yeah, and I think that helps us just as much as it does the people that, we're giving these organizations to, because I say it all the time on our show is the more and more that I get to have a connection with someone, if I'm helping them with their mortgage, if I'm helping them with, getting therapy, or if I'm just helping them with some type of conflict resolution, the human connection that I get from that, it makes my mental health better too. And so that's what I'm all about, because like I said, I was a very intense, robotic, very, Fort Campbellian type person, you know what I'm saying? And so I've had to work very hard to not do that, because even in family life now, when I don't think I start fights, or I'm not going to argue, or I'm not that military, personality where you just can't get along with them, but I do exacerbate things, and I do come back over the top. And a lot of that comes from the, intense nature that we have to deal with all the time. We're always intense about everything, but yeah, being around, just getting a different perspective from Scott Blake, even like, he's like, man, don't be reading them comments that people talk about, because they will straight up just rake you over the coals when you say something on the podcast. You're like, wait a minute, that's not what I meant. It doesn't matter. That's how they took it.
That's what they heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people just hear what they want to hear anyway. So it doesn't matter what we say. We could be saying the sky is blue, and they heard the sky is X. No, I didn't say that. Whatever. Just go crazy in there, and that's just life. I mean, we're talking about 101st and the intensity. There's a young man in the chat right now who was in 716th. He got out, I think 2 years ago now. Ryan Holland. He's up at JBLM now as a GS employee. So he was in the
716th. I was in 716th for 9 years. So Peacekeepers, Saigon Warriors. Yeah, absolutely. I was the S6 there for a long time. So good on you, brother.
He got out a couple.
I can't see the chat. I'll have to look at it on my phone.
Yeah, Ryan Holland is his name. Good young man. He's Jake Holland from the Tuesday Crew is his nephew.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And his wife is still serving. She's I think air medic now, so she's doing great things out there still.
Oh, very cool. Air assault.
Yeah. Yeah, throw that in there. Air assault. Everyone loves that. And
yeah, actually, my it's a funny story. My ex-wife was up at Fort Campbell, I don't know, a month or so ago, and so she sent me a picture of the little Jeep and little sign out in front of the 716th MP Battalion. I'm telling you, man, like I've told my story so many times on the podcast. I think I've told it on Willis's podcast, and you've been on ours. So, I didn't really want to come on and tell a bunch of stuff about me, but I'll tell a few little stories. So getting to Fort Campbell and being able to be there at the time I got there, which was early 99, before, we went to Kosovo, before anything happened, pre 9/11, and seeing how the military was then, and then seeing that, going to Kosovo, and I was in Kosovo on 9/11, seeing the way the switch flipped after that to where everything was a completely different, we were looking at a completely different azimuth on our maps. We were not shining boots as much anymore as we were going to the range. We were definitely in that tactical training cycle. So being there, being able to hear the history of Fort Campbell, grow up and know about, Bastogne, Strike, Rakkasans, Currahee, the history from World War II. I felt like it was amazing to me. Like I marked out, like I was like, I'm from Kentucky. I'm from Corbin. I got to go serve my first duty station at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, the 101st Airborne Division. Man, I was on cloud 9 when I first got there. How were you when you first got assigned to Fort Campbell?
My first time coming here was in 96. I came from Korea to here. And I was kind of in the culture shock coming from I was in the ADA unit over there. I went from mechanized infantry to ADA to Fort Campbell, and all I knew about Fort Campbell is I'd have to go to air assault school.
Sure.
And that's the only thing anyone can tell me in Korea. So I got here, and there was still World War II barracks when I got here. So what are these things doing here? So what is this? I was kind of a little shocked there, but the support that they gave to soldiers, me, I was a young E5 at the time, young sergeant, and they had laid their hand out to me to help me get in process, do all the stuff. But as soon as I got to 2nd 327 Bravo Company, the day I walked in to sign in, they said, here's your radio. You're my RTO. Let's go to the field. The day I walked in, and I was spit shine pressed because I wanted to impress your first day, You got 30 minutes to get that crap off and get your field gear and go. And I was gone for 30 days. And that was my introduction to Fort Campbell life. And that's
really? Wow. Okay.
That's what I thought the 101st was going to be like forever. And it was, even 96 to 99, that first tour. And then I got back here in 2010. Of course, a lot of things changed in that time, but it was still 100 miles an hour, because now 2010, height of the war, height of the surge in Afghanistan. You had 60 days on ground before I went to Afghanistan.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, it's, I thought my story of getting to Fort Campbell was pretty intense, but, I got there in the middle of 99, and, the bombing campaign had already happened in Kosovo. So we knew some military police units were going to get chosen to go to Kosovo. We just didn't know which company. Lo and behold, I get to a unit, get a little bit acclimated first couple of weeks, not air assault qualified, but I am airborne qualified. So they made me go to the fucking O course every day. Every day I went to for like 3 months until they had a slot.
Yeah.
It was like 3 months, man. It's crazy. So as soon as I get to my unit at Fort Campbell, 551 MP Company, we become aware that we're going to deploy to Kosovo for 6 months. And at that time, a deployment to Kosovo was, that was the only thing. So we were like, oh my God, we're deploying. And then, of course, when we're in Kosovo, 9/11 happens, and at the speed of smell. Is that fast? Yeah, that's pretty fast most of the time, I think. But it's pretty intense anyway. The smell can be very intense.
Intense, yes.
That air assault smell, it smells like victory. But yeah, so I mean, that's I'll just tell you, I will mark out over some 101st stuff. I get so excited when we start talking about 101st and the time there and the experiences. Like, the people that I met there are amazing. My career was amazing being there.
Yeah, both my tours here were great. I was in, like I said, Bastogne the first time, 2nd 327 Bravo Company, all 3 years. Last 6 months I was in 63rd Chem, and then my next tour was.
I remember all these units. That's crazy.
I was in the 2nd BSTB recon platoon for 3 years, 10 to 13. So, and then I came back here to retire for 2 days in 2015. They gave me a choice of where I could retire. I said 2 days. I'll PCS to Fort Campbell and stay there. And that's what I did. That's
what I'm talking about. That's a nice place. I always look on Zillow. Hooligans. That's what I'm talking about. I was of course in headquarters. I think we were called Rock Talk. So I guess we were Rock.
Yeah. Rock Talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So me and Jake, we work where our office is we kind of butt to the back of the MP battalion. So there's one building between us and the MPs now. So,
oh, really? The battalion?
Yeah,
oh,
the
that's
whole
cool.
battalion's right behind us.
Well, at least I know where you're at when I come to Fort Campbell to meet you.
Yeah, we're right by the parade field. Can't miss us.
Very cool, man.
And the building that everyone forgets is there, or they can't find. So we're there though every day.
So how is that going though? With the like, you get to go out and you still doing the.
We did it today. Me and Jake were out there, and it was pretty dang cold today out there, windy and cold.
I didn't know if you talk about it or anything on the show or not.
I usually don't know. I
didn't think
use different words. Yeah. But
yeah.
We train them on emerging threats, and
yeah, there you go.
We were out there on Suction DZ today and testing new stuff, and it was pretty damn cold and windy. So we were glad it was cut short. It was so windy they couldn't fly 47s today.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Is the 101st Aviation Brigade still there? Is it all chopped up now?
They took out some of the units, but they're still the cab though.
Oh, okay.
And some are on their way other places right now, and to protect God's freedoms and stuff. But they'll be there. He used to come and hang out with us at lunch.
Yeah, I remember like, oh my God, like we had a group that we would at 7/16 that we would do PT together in the morning. This is back when they made us do PT like 6:30 to 8:30 or 6:30 to they blocked the roads and everything.
Yeah.
So we would come in, do PT, same group, 7 to 10 people, PT, go shower, go to breakfast at the sustainment DFAC, go back over to our area and work all day. So we'd be there from 5:30, 5:45 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night. And these are the people that you're deploying with multiple times, dealing with any type of conflict or any type of issues you got to deal with. So there's definitely a band of brothers and sisters attitude at Fort Campbell that I never really saw replicated anywhere in my military career. I mean, would you agree with that as well?
100%. Yeah. The only one that came close was a Big Red One at Fort Riley. I was there.
Yeah, I've got some friends at Riley that said that was pretty cool. And then of course I spent some time at Fort Bragg, but man, Fort Bragg they're a little bit more braggadocious than for my taste. But anyway.
Fort Bragg is a whole base full of Rockasans. That's all.
Right. Yeah, there you go. That's what it is.
Rockasans should be there so we don't have to listen to them every day. And that'd be a godsend. Please make it happen. But when I first got there and I had to go to air assault school, was the only thing. My mom, that was the first time I ever climbed a rope.
Oh yeah,
was that air assault school? And I watched the two guys in front of me do it. All right, that's probably a bad technique. Let me just use my arms. I got to the top using all arms. And then they said, "Now what are you gonna do, air assault?" Oh crap! So I just pulled up once and jumped and held on. Woo, air assault, boys!
Right. Yeah, I was always the guy. For some reason, I was always climbing trees and shit when I was young, growing up in Kentucky. But I was that lock-in guy. I had a lock-in that it was just a good lock-in. So I could stand there all day.
Now I know how to lock in because it's a lot easier. You don't go to muscle failure as quick.
Yeah, very true.
Jake just said 82nd Rockasan Civision. I don't know if you meant to write Civision or Division there, but he might be drinking. So there it is.
Yeah.
So
man,
what led you to Houston?
Well, I mean, funny story. I actually have no ties to Houston other than my ex-wife moved here. So as you said, or I told you earlier, I have a bunch of kids. So I have 6 children, aging from 27 down to 11 now. So I've got one at home, and so there was a lot of a lot of kids. So there was, even though the marriage didn't work out, we were still kind of friends. So I wanted to be near the kids. So when my wife and I were getting out, my wife now, that sounds terrible. Let me start over. My ex-wife lives here. My wife and I moved here because we wanted to be near the kids. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we wanted to be near the kids. So, they were in high school, wanted to, maybe the last couple of years of high school, be around them. And, got to spend that time with them. And then we liked it so much that we just ended up staying here. Like, I don't think we thought we were going to be here for more than a couple of years until the kids kind of got out of high school. But we liked it so much. We got involved in so many things. And my wife has her wonderful dream job here. So, and that company's based here in Houston. So we'll probably stay here forever, maybe travel a little bit once Tatum gets out of the house. But yeah. I think Houston will be the base. But I mean, it's a great place, 4th biggest city in America. It's got a wonderful VA, lots of stuff to do, a lot of culture in town, out of town.
So many different parts of Houston that you can take a week and not see everything.
That's for sure. And everything's an hour away. There's little corners of Houston that you can find and just get lost in for, a couple weekends. And then there's other places that you'll visit and you'll probably never go back there again. But I
almost moved there the same
year.
Huge. You did move.
Oh,
there.
Did you?
Yeah. I went down to look at houses just before Harvey hit. And my wife's like, nope.
Oh yeah. I remember this. I remember you telling me this before. Yeah.
And I was working with Mission Continues and they were right downtown in Edo. So their office was in Edo. They're still down there. I'd camp there and then I'd drive all around the realtor. So that's all over the place. And it seemed like we were driving for hours to stay in the city. And I was like, wow, this is nuts.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everything, like there's three loops to the city, that goes all the way around. So it's a huge ass city. It takes an hour to get anywhere, but We actually, when we closed, I retired in late 2016. And I think my final out was like March of 2017 or whatever was my final day. And so we closed in the house sometime in March of 2017. We didn't even look at anything for flood zones or what may happen. But we got here, and then that freaking storm happened, however long, 6 months after we got here. Scared the crap out of us. But our power didn't even go out for Harvey. Now, some of that other stuff that's going on where it gets real cold and other hurricanes, kind of messed a lot of stuff up around here. But Harvey didn't mess with us. But, yeah, that was pretty scary to start out.
It's a welcome.
Living in the place with Harvey.
Welcome to Houston.
Yeah. Here's Harvey. Yeah.
Here's Harvey on a nice plate for you.
Yeah.
It's an amazing. I mean, when I got to go there a few times with Michigan teams, and of course after Harvey, we were there mucking out a high school and cleaning up a whole neighborhood, and seeing the people that come out to help. Well, a lot of veterans come out to help, obviously, and they just flock, and they were there to help. And I've seen this last storm that was down there, right outside. I forget the name of the center down in Edo, where all the veterans organizations are. They were all outside there collecting donations to give to people. It's a whole community of, there might be different organizations, but they all come together in times of need.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like there's a lot of veterans in Texas, but there's a lot. I mean, I think the VA here in Houston is considered one of the best VAs in the eastern part of the United States. I think Palo Alto VA is like the best one out in California, but we have a huge heart hospital, and cancer hospital. So there's a lot of pediatric heart stuff down here. So the medical care we get for veterans down here is pretty amazing with the VA and all the other stuff going on. So I can't complain. Wouldn't do any good if you did complain, but I hear people complain about the VA system, but I think they're complaining about the person they dealt with that day. It's not necessarily the system so much as it is the people not wanting to even interact with people anymore. That's kind of the thing. But yeah, I don't know where I got off on a tangent there on the VA, but yeah, sorry about that.
Well, you went to it, it was good, and then you kind of turned again. It was all right.
Yeah.
I got my first time.
It's been great for me. I've not had any bad experiences.
Down in Nashville, so it's right attached to Vanderbilt. So you get a lot of doctors from Vanderbilt that come over there to treat you. So that's a plus down there. The only problem is there's so many veterans in that area that when you're walking through there, you see so many that have been just handed the drugs all these years, and they just look like zombies.
Yeah.
And then they try to hand it to you like, no, I don't want to be them. I want to be able to know what I'm doing every day and not piss my pants when I forget to take a pill. And
right.
But now we have a pretty good clinic here in Clarksville now, and they're opening a second one, I think, just for specialty clinics up here in Clarksville. So it's getting a little more robust up here as well.
Yeah, get that stuff straight, because when I move up there, I want to come into some good military service and treatment.
There's also a VA clinic on post now too in Blanchfield.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that just opened up, I think, within the last 6 months. So
I had no idea being that it's Fort Campbell, right?
I had no idea it was there until they told me at the clinic, "Oh, you can go to that one." I said, "I go to this one. I want to go to this one because I'm established. I don't want to keep changing and do more paperwork. I'm good. I don't want to answer the same questions." So where do you see Triple Threat Vets podcast going in the future?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I mean, we kind of started, it all started because Matt Johnson and I were up in Oklahoma at a Texas State VFW convention. So we were in a casino in Oklahoma. It was during COVID, so that's why I was in Oklahoma. And so we were up there, and we just started talking, and we ended up talking for like three and a half hours over lunch. We're talking about different things we want to try to do for the VFW or things that we want to try to do for ourselves, to make quality of life kind of things. So we're like, you know what? We got a lot of good ideas. Maybe we should tell people about this. So I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to do a podcast. Matt's like, well, I've done a podcast. He had like 50 episodes already of a Anchor Up podcast. So we're like, let's just start a podcast, and we'll get a bunch of characters together. I'll kind of make the container and throw all these interesting personalities in there, and we'll see what happens. And basically what's happened is it's not only been, really good for the audience and the guests that we bring on, but I think it's been most beneficial for the four of us, learning about ourselves. Like we were all senior NCOs, E7s and E8s and things like that. So we had a certain way that we thought, care should be provided or you should receive the care. But having all the people on, sometimes you realize, you're just wrong. You're not thinking about this right, or maybe you're not thinking out of it as much ways. So I think going forward, like I said, we're going to make it a real push and try to get our name out there and, try to have bigger guests and talk about bigger things and, have more events. And eventually, I want to rebuild the Tomball VFW. So at some point, someone's going to back me with enough money to where I can get this project off the ground. So essentially we're going to build a new building for the Tomball VFW. It's kind of one of those 10 buildings. We're going to put power on an existing stage they have, build a basketball court / storage, and then we're going to turn it into a community center. So it's that's what the goal is, to be able to get enough money, interest, people talking about it to where I can rebuild the Tomball VFW. That's kind of how it started. And then, of course, with Matt Johnson, he's got the Got Your Six culture. He wants to sell T-shirts and help veterans. And, we just want to give we have a licensed clinical social worker that's always on the show with us, a guy named Alberto Fight. So he advises us. So trying to make sure if people need something, we get it. So the future of the show, to answer your question in one concise thing, is to rebuild the Tomball VFW. So we want to get a foundation with some money behind it, raising campaign funds to rebuild the Tomball VFW. And then we want to get a point to where we can actually have a direct interjection for people to receive therapy, whether it be through the Got Your Six culture, whether it be through the Project Zero, whether it be through many of the guests that we've had on our show, your shows, David Willis's show, just that big ass network that we've all built. I just want people to be able to get stuck in it. Big ass spider web, people can get stuck in it, get some therapy, be good to go. I want it to be as informal as that, that's kind of how I look at it. So.
And a lot of the therapy in those places is usually the camaraderie. Like you said, when you got out, you were a hard charger, you needed something to get in there, and the VFW was your joint. A lot of people just need to get into something like that. So that's almost like finding that brotherhood or sisterhood again. Get in there and start talking to brother and sister and say, hey, remember that time I stepped in that shit and oh yeah, I did the same thing. I fell in the porta potty, I fell in this hole. It all comes out the same, and it'll be like you knew each other forever, and that really helps a lot of people. And then they'll come back because they want more of it. And once you Field of Dreams, once you build the field, they will come. Once you rebuild that VFW, you'll probably get a whole lot more people.
Well, I want to get the city of Tomball involved. I want to get the district involved, the Houston district for the VFW. I don't want it to be a standalone, isolated in a vacuum project. I want everybody to know about it. And I want it to be an asset. I don't want it just to be a guarded secret. No, we've done crowdfunding, and we have raised quite a bit of money, probably like close to $30,000, I think, at the Tomball VFW for the roof portion. Okay. But what I want to do is going to be probably closer to about 750,000, maybe $1 million. Okay. And I want to rebuild the entire place, apply power to an outdoor stage we have, and then turn it into, I totally agree. And don't let me forget that point, Stephen LaMonica, because I want to come back to that in a second. But it's kind of something I go back and forth on the VFW all the time, Rich. It's, I defend it because it literally saved my life. And then I talk bad about it because it's almost like that, well, this is the way we've always done it kind of mentality. And I really hope that a lot of these, the Project Zero, Treehouse Recovery, all the places that we've had that offer, the ayahuasca, the ketamine, I would not advertise that. I would not recommend that for recreational use, or I wouldn't recommend it for someone with PTS because I'm not the specialist, but I definitely want those tools to be able to know about it. And if someone does need that, I want it to be available and accessible, and I want it to be studied, and I want the VFW to be like, or excuse me, not the VFW, the VA to be like, yes, we do give this, and this is why. So at some point, all those organizations are going to have to work together. So I think our podcast, and like Steven said, some of the best therapy that I've had comes from the people that are talking to me on the show, or the people that are planning the show with me, or, David Willis coming down here and hanging out at the Houston Rodeo with us. I mean, that kind of stuff right there is what helps me the most. It's not going to help everybody. Yeah. And that's a big thing with me is like, I feel like I'm an empath, and that's why I instantly hit it off with Rich, because I feel like he's an empath too. And he actually cares about all the stories that he said. He cares about that stuff. So, yeah.
He said that because at work, I took this test because I became a leader at work, and I had to take this test, and I failed it miserably because it said I had no empathy. Because I didn't.
Really?
I answered the questions honestly, and it said I failed, but I got every question wrong, but I passed. And so ever since then, he's been saying things like this. He's so empathetic. So empathetic. He has so much empathy. So every day I work on it. I work on it real bad. I think a lot of empathy comes from being direct every morning, and if you don't do that, then they don't think you love them. So,
right.
If I come in and just say what's up, and they don't want to hear that.
Right.
So I think
there's a certain familiarity with being called fuckhead, or
yes.
Hey, asswipe, I need you to go do this. Yeah, man, I'm ready. What is it? You don't even remember that you just got called an asswipe. You heard I got a mission from my sergeant or my buddy or whoever it may be.
You're doing it. I got it. He picked me over everyone else. All right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, strangely, that is kind of how you have to look at it.
We did have a question asking about your MOSs on the end of your name there. Can you tell people what they are? 25.
Oh, yeah. I put so 25 uniform is signal support system specialist. So basically, any of your radios, any of your computers, anything that plugged into a wall or had power going to it, I would be working on that kind of stuff. And then later on, I became a EWO, electronic warfare. So I would do all the Dukes and those systems. I thought that was what the name was, shithead.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so Twin and Echoes, electronic warfare. We do all the frequency manipulation, white noise, and things like that to defeat the remote control IED devices and whatnot.
I hope Steve asked that question because he's, of course, was not in the military, but he's surrounded by us now, so he has to know everything now. We have to learn them as we go.
So I remember like doing the in brief to Fort Campbell, and I apologize for asking this question. It's a silly question probably, but I remember there was a large gang contingent. Is there still a gang contingent in and around Oak Grove and in the Clarksville area? Do they still brief that on the in brief for Fort Campbell?
They try to say there's no gangs in this area.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah, they try to say there's no gangs, but there is. It's obvious there are. There's shootings at least once a week here. We just had someone get killed downtown yesterday. Found dead in house with bullet wound.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a gunshot, I believe. But they're here, and they're coming from everywhere. They come from Memphis, of course. So they come from Nashville, and they try to meet in the middle here somehow and fight over turf that's not really theirs, but they fight here over it. And then the locals get involved with it because they think they're tough too. So it's still.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've heard that the greater Clarksville Oak Grove area Oak Grove area has grown because of all the industrial expansion between Nashville and Clarksville. I don't know what that area is called on 24 there, but evidently that's expanded so much that it's basically one big suburb right up to the South Fort Campbell.
So if you look at it since the flood in Nashville in 2010, really. So like Jake just said, especially after that flood, a lot of people got priced out of Nashville. They got priced out, and the hordes started pushing this way. So first, some of them went to Hendersonville down there, and like Murfreesboro and stuff like that. They went that way, but a lot of them came west and started filling the gaps here and overcrowding. At one point, we were getting probably 50 to 100 new people in Clarksville a day. Nashville's still getting 100 people new a day, but they're coming from outside the state. The people that were there, they can't afford it, so they move out to come here. And we're just overpopulated right now. They just keep building it here.
Yeah, and I've got a buddy that's he's a assistant principal at one of the high schools there, and he said that they built a new high school recently, in the last couple of years, and it's already full.
Yeah, Kirkwood. It's my wife teaches at the middle school there. Her school just opened 2 years ago. It's full already. The high school's full. The elementary school just opened, and that's almost at capacity.
Man, I get so angry at traffic here in Houston. I can't imagine going back to Fort Camp. I lived out at Exit 4, so driving Tiny Town to work every day now, It's a death trap, isn't it?
It's a roulette wheel. You don't know what you're gonna get. I'm telling you,
right?
Because you got to make it through 2 school zones and multiple special people coming out of
Yeah.
Don't stop at stop signs and don't care about anyone but themselves. And you're gonna see people die. When you were here until 2017, you've seen people die on that road.
Yeah.
So a lot of people died on that road over there. And Jake said, but they did close the Cat West. So
that's funny. I had a buddy that sent me before the show the other day, sent me a picture of it. I guess he was back in Fort Campbell. It's all dilapidated now. Yeah, I've never been in there, of course. I don't know what that place looks like, but from the outside, I passed it a lot because Walmart's right there.
Yeah, exactly. Leach's Pizza's across the street. Got it.
Right, exactly.
Leach's is still there. But once they built
that place is a landmark.
They built the casino and the horse track there, and that kind of pushed the Cat West.
Hold up. There's a casino?
Oh, yeah, right there, right behind Cat West, where the Cat West is.
Like a full, play cards casino and everything?
Slots only.
Oh, wow.
Slots and gaming, so sports booking.
Look at you, Fort Campbell.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to come visit pretty soon.
Have some concerts there. Some old 80s hair band guys come there to play. So you get to see some stuff. Yeah. But that's
I'm telling you, talking about Fort Campbell gets me excited.
In downtown, we have a whole arena now. We have an arena, F&M Arena downtown Clarksville. So,
for the college, for Austin P, or
it's for Austin P. We also have a minor league hockey game now, a hockey team too.
No shit.
Yeah.
Good Lord, I got to come back and visit, man.
Yeah, and a few more breweries. So.
Yeah,
that helps out a lot. So.
Yeah,
but it's growing, and a lot of it's good. And of course, we get for everything. Every time you have a city that's growing, you're going to have crime that comes to, and that's across the whole country. It doesn't matter where you are. You're going to have crime no matter where you are. You just got to try to weed it out on your own, or let the police do their jobs.
Yeah, I try to just stay out of the way and stay at home or stay in my little seclusive areas, and then only come out when I have to. So that's the best way for me. I mean, I'm telling you, there's a lot of time spent at home because we do so much with all these shows. There's no time to go anywhere, and do anything else. Almost, it does take up a lot of time.
It definitely does.
Does your show take up a lot of time, or?
It does take up a lot of time. I think my brother learned when he was here for the NASCAR race. Me and him worked the NASCAR race. I helped him set up their show just on Spotify so they can just have their own stuff on there. And he realized how much extra stuff goes into it at that point, I think, besides just jumping on, pressing go live. There's a lot more on the backside and the front side that goes into this than even I thought when I started. When I first started, I forget the platform I was even using at the time, but it was just really plug and play audio files in and go, audio file in, go. So it was pretty simple, but it was rudimentary. Then when I got the megaphone, you can do a little more stuff with it. And now when I went live with the YouTube, it's way better.
Yeah. Yeah. I like using the StreamYard and I like being live and everything, but I think, I love what we're doing here. It's been a lot of fun.
And Jake just said, did I tell you about, it got so bad at the 41A Walmart that they stopped theft prevention at 10 p.m.
They stop it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's a guy just bumped an employee was walking out, and he was walking, kind of walking out and bumped into a guy that was stealing something. The guy thought he was trying to stop him, so he shot and killed him. And then he got caught. The K9, the fur missile caught him in the woods behind there. So
right.
At least he got caught and he got convicted, actually. So that's a good thing. But it's bad that the dude got shot just for bumping into him by accident.
Man, I can't even imagine being at Fort Campbell these days with, the wisdom and mindset that I have at nearly, I'll be 50 in July, as opposed to how I was when I was, living there, not having a care in the world, not paying attention to anything outside of Fort Campbell because, we thought we just, we were 10 foot tall and bulletproof back then,
Right.
I can't imagine, going through life like that anymore. I never paid attention to anything outside of posts, because I was so either deploying or doing Army training. I never got a chance to live my life there at Fort Campbell. It didn't seem like.
And going in and now, and going home, I go through the city. Going in, I take the highway. But I come from exit 11 now, so it's a little different depending on how many accidents there are. If I can stay on the highway, or if it's too windy, I can't drive my Jeep on the highway. I'll get blown off that thing. So the city is the best way for my Jeep during wind days. Today I came through the city and it took me an extra 20 minutes to get through because of one car that broke down and no one can get around it.
Mm.
So it just caused chaos. So I was sitting there twiddling my thumbs, trying to just listen to an audiobook, and this is not going to get angry at these special people and just go.
How do you feel about the training, like overall, like the soldiers that you're training these days? Do you feel like it's still Fort Campbell, or are things different than when you were there before, or better, worse?
There's a couple ways I look at it. Sometimes I walk into class and I teach, and I see the same soldiers that I sat next to, because they all look the same. But then you see how they interact, and they have no social skills. They have no common, I guess, sense skills to ask a question correctly, because they're too busy worried about what's on their phone or what they're going to do next with whatever game they're playing to get out of that class. They're just there because Sergeant told them to be there. And most times with me and Jake, when we're teaching, they'll schedule the class. Senior NCOs will come in, schedule the class. NCOs will come check on it, and then they won't show up to the class. It'll just be Joe, the E4 and below, to be in the class. So we're just babysitting for him.
Sure.
And that never happened when I was in. And unless one of the NCOs got pulled out for something, you never left your soldiers. So that's the big difference I see. So there's not a lot of I want to be trained, is I have to do this. So it's kind of weird.
Sure. Yeah. I always enjoy doing like a combat life taker. What was it called? Combat lifesaver, and combat commo and all that. I like doing all those. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I still have my combat commo certificate downstairs still in my Love Me book. It's down there by the old the indoor pool that was way down by the bowling alley. That's where combat commo used to be my first tour in 96, 99.
Where'd you go in 96?
That's when I was in second 327 Bravo Company.
Oh, gotcha.
And since I was Seaburn, I got to do everything. So as RTO, I had to learn everything about the radio, how to set up every kind of antenna possible out of my rucksack. So they sent me to combat commo to be proficient at it.
Yeah. So
I couldn't say I did not know and did not have the tools. I had them. I had every tool I wanted, no matter if I wanted them or not. I had them. But I mean, yeah. I have no regrets at Fort Campbell. I had a blast both times. Got to see a lot.
Oh yeah, I asked for every class they would give you at Fort Campbell. I asked for everything.
And even classes I didn't want, like Eagle First Responder, when I got back in Korea in 2010, I only had 60 days to even basically in process and get to Afghanistan. I had to take that class again. So I didn't think, I thought I knew enough. And I still paid attention just in case there was something new and cool. I mean, there was new bandages in that time that I missed that came out. So I got to learn some new stuff. So I took it in, absorbed as much as I could in my brain housing unit and went forward. So how does our audience get in contact with you, just to maybe chat with you like we are now, or find out how they can help you with the VFW down there?
Well, I mean, our show comes on every Tuesday at 7 p.m. We're live every Tuesday. We're on Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, and then Spotify as well. We get uploaded to Spotify. So comment or message me on any of those. And if there's something that we can help you with on the Triple Threat Vet podcast, we'll definitely reach back out to you. Or if you're interested in, if you're a veteran and you're interested in telling your story, want to be a guest, go ahead and reach out to us on our social media too, Triple Threat Vet, at Triple Threat Vet podcast, and you'll find us there. But yeah, we love helping with everything from, the other three guys we have on there are career recruiters, so they understand how to transition out of the military, how to do resumes, and then plus we got just the regular bunch of deployments thing. We can talk about that, so we can find common ground a lot with our audience. And if we can't, like you said before, Rich, I've called you before and said, hey, I got this, can you help? And you were like, yeah, of course I can. So just keeping doing that. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, same thing. All Misfit Nation, if you guys need something from any of us, don't hesitate to reach out, and we will do our best to get you what you need and get you in that right direction to stay upright and stay moving forward. Brother, thanks for jumping on and taking this time slot tonight. I know
for sure.
You have a million things you can do in a day, and this is just one of them. So thanks for being here with us, Air Assault, and let's go Army, beat Navy.
Yeah, go Army, beat Navy, Air Assault. We got a rendezvous with Destiny, all that stuff, man.
Yes.
It's been great being here. I love seeing what you're doing. I love the fact that you're going out and seeing all the different sports areas. I love your sunrises or sunsets that you put on. I just love your whole vibe, brother. So keep doing it, Air Salt.
Thanks, brother. I got to get back on your show when I'm not in a complete black room next time.
Yeah, in a hotel room. Were you up at? You were up in Indiana at that time, right?
I think I was in I forget. Yeah. I'm on the road so much. It's probably Indiana that time. Yeah.
We'll get you back on there and talk about some fun stuff.
Yeah, I'll get a better light this time. All right, brother. Have a good night.
All right, keep stacking victories. We'll holler at you soon.
Hell yeah.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites. These sites are located across more than 400 million acres of public lands, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forests. The lands host activities to fit any lifestyle: hiking, biking, fishing, camping, and much more. Gold Star families are also eligible for these free lifetime passes. Plus, they cover entrance fees for a driver and all passengers in a car, or up to 3 additional adults at sites that charge per person. Obtaining one is easy. Just go to the National Park Service website, nps.gov, or the National Park Service app.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.